Good evening. A massive police operation is underway as we go to air tonight as thousands of anti-Israel protesters rally in the heart of the city. These pictures just in show the activists spilling onto Flinders Street outside the train station. They're taking a stand against Israeli President Isaac Herzog's visit to Melbourne, even though he's already on his way out of Australia and heading home. Laura Turner begins our coverage.
The last moments of a presidential tour met with furore. Accusations Isaac Herzog is a war criminal, a baby killer.
You people did not sign up to protect a genocide-enabling war criminal.
Yet inside the four walls of a secret South Melbourne venue, rapturous reception.
The famous spirit of Australian Jews, which is simply unbreakable.
Where words weren't minced.
The State of Israel, which is protecting the free world.
But the identities of Liberal leaders were.
And also with Susan Lee. Did I make a mistake in the name? Yeah, Jess Wilson.
Before a crowd of strictly security-screened Jewish schoolchildren, business leaders and politicians were all captivated by stories from Bondi survivors.
I am shoving my body over my baby, using my body as a human shield.
This was a chance for Australian politicians to repair frayed relations with the Jewish community.
As leaders and governments, we take responsibility. Your warnings were clear.
And where they were galvanised by a president unapologetic.
It's obscure and odd that we need to have so many incredible police officers protecting us.
Before he flew out last night, he made a secret stop at the home of Westfield billionaires, the Lowy family in Sydney's Watsons Bay. Police snipers circling off the family's private beach. And from the moment he touched down in Melbourne this morning, security was extreme. Protesters trailing the envoy all day. At one stage, brandishing a lewd object at police protecting him.
The protests began even before the President's first engagement here in Melbourne. This right out the front of Government House.
The visit not without its glitches.
I'm sorry, they dropped me off at the wrong door.
And inside Government House went without a mention of global divisions that run deep over the Gaza war.
We are very happy to be here in Victoria.
Safety concerns forcing the cancellation of a planned visit to the Adass Israel synagogue.
I found in Australia, which is different from what was depicted. There is anti-Semitism, it is frightening and worrying.
And as Herzog departed, rage consumed the heart of Melbourne. 4 days of political diplomacy versus much public indignity. Laura Turner, 7 News.
And Blake Johnson is live at Flinders Street Station. Blake, there's hundreds of police there to keep the peace.
Yes, Pete, getting around the city and the South Bank has been particularly difficult today with the number of police roadblocks that have been set in place. And of course, getting through this part of town is near impossible. This is a huge crowd outside Flinders Street Station, one of the busiest tram corridors in the world, but not tonight. Trams and cars, it is a no-go zone for this part of town. The crowd has been here for about an hour and a half, blocking the intersection. At this stage, no sign of any of the confrontations that we saw in Sydney earlier this week between police and protesters. This crowd, which is several thousand in size, very peaceful. After the speeches, the plan is to move towards Parliament House and have more speeches up there. Peter?
Blake Johnson on Flinders Street. Thank you. The Premier says she's sickened and sorry about the latest CFMEU corruption claims on Victoria's big build projects. But Jacinta Allen has already ruled out a royal commission, leaving the dirty work up to police.
24 hours after one of Victoria's biggest corruption scandals, a breakthrough arrest of big build bikies.
He was extremely powerful.
The corruption-busting lawyer claims Joel Levitt was calling the shots on a $530 million Hurstbridge line upgrade, just one of several big build sites allegedly infiltrated by bikie gangs. Workers paid $15,000 each over Easter.
Hurstbridge was an especially big and complicated site, which was especially lucrative.
Fronting the media for the first time since the explosive allegations of strippers and drugs on government work sites went public, the Premier offered an apology.
Those reports are absolutely sickening. I am deeply sorry that it happened.
Sorry that it happened, but admitting no personal blame, despite being the minister responsible. Jacinta Allen refused to detail what she knew about CFMEU corruption and when she found out about it.
When did you first receive a claim about any corruption or any of this kind of behaviour on a big build site?
When allegations were raised with me, they were referred to the relevant agencies for their action. When allegations were raised with me, they referred to the relevant agencies.
Premier.
She won't even concede the $15 billion taxpayer dollars allegedly siphoned off to criminals.
That is a claim that the administrator has said is not well tested or properly founded.
And the Premier won't test the claim herself, ruling out a royal commission.
The opposition has penned a letter to the state's corruption watchdog calling for an investigation into the big build scandal, including deleted information about Labor's supposed inaction.
Will you resign as Premier?
No.
Rochelle Brown, 7 News.
Angus Taylor is reportedly just hours away from becoming the next Liberal leader, with a spill motion now locked in. Tomorrow morning's challenge triggered by a cascade of front bench resignations, and it could get ugly for Susan Lee.
Hoping it's a day tailored for change.
You think you got the numbers?
Mate, good to see you this morning. Bit wet out
the numbers if it goes to a spill.
His supporters resigning one after another.
The Liberal Party is capable of so much better than this.
Followed by WA Senator Matt O'Sullivan and Queenslander Phil Thompson.
We've been in a death spiral and we need to get out of it.
Mr Thompson and New South Wales Senator Jess Collins formally requesting a leadership spill. Susan Lee agreeing. At 9 a.m. tomorrow, it's on. Her supporters rallying.
This person hasn't even been given a year in the job.
As the resignations flowed, Tasmanian John O'Donoghue and Victorian James Patterson, who encouraged Andrew Hastie to shelve his leadership ambitions, declaring for Mr Taylor.
Angus understands that this is a change or die moment for the Liberal Party.
Having resigned himself last night, Angus Taylor finally declaring his candidacy online.
I'm running to be the leader of the Liberal Party because I believe that Australia is worth fighting for.
From the Liberal women who got the ball rolling on Monday.
I believe the best person to take us forward to the election and lead that fight is Angus Taylor.
Jane Hume working the phones, considering running for deputy leader as the resignations continue. Senior WA Conservative Michaelia Cash, Queenslander and former Lee backer James McGrath. An orchestrated uprising, choreographed to build the impression of momentum, and it seems to have worked. Number crunchers tell 7 News Angus Taylor has the numbers. Susan Lee releasing a flurry of social media posts stating her principles before fronting what could be her last question time as leader. Labor lampooning.
Julius Caesar had more support from his senators than what we've seen going on over there today.
And as Liberals prepare tonight to ditch their first ever female leader after just 10 months in the job, a warning.
Any day of the week, an average bloke in the Liberal Party wins over a woman, and the only real qualification you need are the XY chromosomes.
A tough sell for a party that needs to reconnect with female voters.
And Mark Riley joins us now from Canberra. Mark, is there any doubt the writing is on the wall for Susan Lee?
Very little, if any, Mitch, and Liberals say it's not her gender, it's her ineffectiveness as leader. Mind you, she's never had a fair crack with constant undermining and the coalition splitting twice, but voters' support under her has collapsed catastrophically, and that's the problem. 2.1 million voters lost since the election. That's 7,000 a day, and that means the next thing the Liberal Party will lose is Susan Lee as leader. Mitch.
Mark Riley in the nation's capital, thank you. A shop just weeks old has become the latest target of Melbourne's tobacco turf wars, which continues to rage despite the arrest of accused kingpin Khazad Hamad. Police suspect one of the firebombers might have suffered burns so serious he needs hospital treatment.
with one flicker of flame. An explosive message is delivered. An arsonist caught right in the middle of it. He dashes back into the flames to grab something as the fire takes hold.
It's very reckless and dangerous.
The men targeted the new tobacconist at Croydon's Burnt Bridge shopping centre around 3:40 this morning, armed with a sledgehammer and an angle grinder. Their attempt to cut through security shutters alerted two bakers working next door.
They just came out through the front door because they heard a noise and was confronted by two guys. Our shop could have gone up too. These boys could have died last night, you know, for something out of their control. Like, it's just crazy.
It's very lucky that it's just this store that was affected. It could easily have spread to the other stores.
Police are checking with hospitals. At least one man could have suffered burns.
Potentially, but just from looking at footage, hard to tell.
The tobacco shop has only just opened around 4 weeks ago. It's so new, there's no signage yet. Other shopkeepers here say they feared this would happen when they saw what it was selling. The owners have told police they have no enemies.
They haven't said anything to us that would assist us in any way.
Tobacco war fire bombings have continued across Melbourne despite the recent arrest of Kazem Hamad, a suspected kingpin in Iraq.
Get a life. Go out and earn your own money.
Paul Dowsley, 7 News.
There's new evidence tonight in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of a Melbourne-born American TV host. FBI and Arizona police are now testing a glove they found not far away from her house after they detained, then released a suspect.
After being questioned by the FBI, his home searched, Carlos Palazuelos was released without charge.
I hope they get the suspect, because I'm not it.
The local delivery driver was detained after police followed up on a lead that appears to have gone cold.
They show my in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask or something, and they supposedly look like my eyes.
The video, released by the FBI, showing a masked figure creeping on the doorstep of Nancy Guthrie's home the morning she was reported missing. The images taken on that doorstep are still the strongest lead investigators have in figuring out who took Nancy. In the 24 hours since they've been made public, the FBI has received 4,000 fresh tips. That's providing some hope for her family, friends and neighbours.
I think it's been very hard for people.
The mystery has gripped America and the world, turning this quiet street into a frenzy of media, onlookers and true crime enthusiasts.
This week we've seen an uptick in more of the true crime aficionados, social media types, who are live streaming the scene of the house.
The FBI are now searching an area around 100 metres from Nancy Guthrie's home. They're looking for anything that can help them solve this case, hoping this mystery figure made a mistake. The New York Post reporting a black glove was found 2 kilometres from her home.
There's an image of him standing with no backpack on. And then he walks over and does have the backpack on. So it makes you think, you know, where was that located? Was that in a vehicle? Does he have an accomplice?
Questions investigators are desperate to answer.
Live now to Miley Hogan in Arizona. And Miley, where does this investigation stand?
Peter, good evening. Well, investigators are expected to run DNA testing on that black glove. They need to rule it in or out. Now, when it comes to other leads, 18,000 tips have come in from the public since the very first day that Nancy Guthrie was reported missing, and investigators are sifting through all of those, trying to determine what is a priority and what needs to be looked at first as the desperate search for Nancy now enters day 12.
Miley Hogan in Arizona, thank you. The Reserve Bank boss has snapped back after being accused by a senator of gaslighting Australians.
I think people are only going to get angrier in this country if they're gaslit into thinking that the economy is okay.
I take exception to that comment. I am not gaslighting anyone.
Okay.
Now, I understand that some people are doing it tough. I do understand. I get letters and I read them.
The Reserve Bank hiked the cash rate at last week's meeting.